Hello. Today I want to talk a little bit about mental health. I was listening to this young man that I follow online, MJ, and he was talking about Kanye. And yesterday he was talking about Tamar. And it both of them right now, are going through their mental health crises. It's said allegedly that Tamar, attempted suicide. And then they were talking about Kanye, his rants that he had, calling his wife, white supremacist and things of that nature. Those are not things that I have seen for myself. However, I personally am very, very familiar with mental health issues because kind of what Kanye is going through right now. And I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into it and read up on exactly the things that he said and listen to, watch the videos and things of that nature so that I can be more informed. Because what I personally don't like to do is talk about things that I don't know. So I really don't know the details of it. So I can't really talk a lot about his situation, but I can talk about mine. When I sit back and I kind of think about myself, a lot of times, or what I've come to find out is that you don't really know how well you are, how sick you are until you are well. You don't know. These are just things that you just don't know. You kind of go about your life as it is. I think about myself, how I came to be where I am today. And kind of as a little girl, I was kind of threatened all the time. My grandmother thought it was a good idea to keep me in line by threatening me to put me in a home, take me out of the home that she put me in, and then put me into what I guess back in the day was called the Youth Study Center. I don't know where this place was. I don't know if it really exists. I think it did because my aunt said that my grandmother put her there. But I just know that I didn't want to go there. So she kept me in line with that threat. So I was always afraid of just doing regular things. If I messed up in school, I got a bad grade, or if I said the wrong thing, or I put the wrong clothes on, or whatever, I was always afraid that my mom that was raising me, that my grandmother put me in her home, that my grandmother would come get me and take me and put me in the youth study center. So with that, it kind of grew into anxiety, but I didn't know what that was. I just knew that I was afraid all the time, and I felt like I was going to die and hyperventilating and things of that nature. And that's kind of one of the ways that as I grew older, then I went through the bullying in school, and the kids chasing me home from school and threatening me and all of that stuff, and people laughing at me, and and it's some people up here that'll probably see this that will recall the things that they did to me as a little girl was cruel, and I remember each and every last one of them. They were very monumental in my life. I was petrified of them. I don't really know why, but that when I look back on it now, it was anxiety. So then as time went on, I met the person that would ultimately end up being my husband. And I actually got together with him because he actually had a bad reputation of being crazy. And I knew that if my grandmother did come and get me and put me in a home, that he would come and get me out. Unfortunately, that kind of didn't necessarily work out because a story for another time, but just say that our relationship was he kind of took over the role of my grandmother in many ways, kind of controlled things because I had, when I got children, I had to be the one to take care of them and stuff like that. So I was, for the very beginning, it was like I was told that I had to make sure that I was available to the kids because at the time he was in the military, and whenever they called him, he had to go. And then if I would get a job or anything like that, he kind of made it a little bit difficult and, said things and threatened me and said I was out doing things and told the kids that I was out and I was never coming back and all that kind of stuff. So all these things collectively over the years kind of contributed to me changing, because when I sit back and I think about when I started to change to what I wasn't really, I wasn't really feeling so good. I started out as an early ages drinking. A lot of people know that. I'll be the first one to drink everything in the house, and that's because I had anxiety and the alcohol took it away. I went to the hospital and went to the doctors and therapists and whatnot, and they prescribed medication for me for the anxiety, and they wanted me to read this book called Road Less Traveled because they said I was an enabler. I didn't read the book. I don't never know what that was, but I know that it was a lot of things that, went on that was not necessarily cool. I know that the relationship was not something that I should actually be in, but everybody said I had to stay. And, when he called my ex at the time, we were young, and he called my mom and told her the next time that she was going to see me would be in a pine box. That kind of put her in a position where she was like, you got to stay because he's going to kill you and all that. So when you live with those type of things, it kind of changes your chemical makeup. So as the years went on and just kind of putting up with different things and the tracking and the following and the, just different things that I want, it changed me. So, and I think back to when I really think that I really, really went over the edge, I want to say it was probably around 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. Because when I started working, well, actually probably sooner than that, I know that I had a situation probably back in 2000, I want to say, where I got into a situation with a young lady, and she kind of let me know that I had been tolerated for years and that they really didn't care much for me. And I kind of loved the young lady. And she was like, basically everything that you've done for me, I've never asked you for anything and I'll give it all back and all this kind of stuff. That right there, literally that and the fact that at the time I was told that in order for my ex-husband to tell me that happy birthday that particular year, it would be like somebody was holding a gun to his head. So when you put all those things together, then it got to the point for me where I couldn't really have a normal conversation with somebody because I would go off on a lot of people. I had a job and I would be going off on my boss, like I was talking to somebody in the street. It had got to the point where people was not people to me anymore. People was my home life was Mr., so to speak, because I actually got to the point where I started calling him Mr. It was Mr. It was like I went into the defense mode thing. And when I started going to school, I made up in my mind that I didn't want to be in it anymore and that I was going to make sure that I continue to do that. I really don't know how I did it. I honestly don't, because I earned my degrees and I don't know how. I don't remember what I learned. I don't know, but I know I went to school every day. And then when it came down to when things actually hit the fan, this is when I became what Kanye is doing right now. I went into a defense mode and I was posting on Facebook and I was just doing the most. And I'm looking back on it now, I can just imagine the things that people said about me. But the mental health thing is real. And I only shared a little bit just as examples. When you add all those things up, there's no way that anybody can maintain a normalcy, or their mental can never, it can't, there's no way that it can stay straight, especially when it's ongoing. We can go to doctors and talk to them, and they give examples and advice. And I remember that I had one therapist when I actually separated, and she was angry with me when I went back, so she was not happy. But mental illness is a lot. I actually attempted suicide in Mother's Day of 1993. And I woke up in the hospital, and I remember waking up crying because I was like, I can't even get this right. And I was shitting charcoal for like a week. I don't know. I just didn't want to do this anymore. And it's crazy because I told my mom about it, and I think that changed her, because on February the 22nd of 2000, on 1994, she died. It was too much. It was a lot for her. She told me that if I would have died, it would have killed her, you know. So a lot of times, you know, people sit back and have judgments of you, and they have comments and make remarks and things of you, not really knowing your story, not really caring about your story, because nobody wants to hear those things, but everybody want to be make judgments. And that's why I always kind of throttle back on making judgments on people, because you never know the walk that somebody has been through. You never know their story. So unless you're willing to sit down and talk to them about their story, it's probably a good idea that you remain neutral. And that's one of the things that I kind of feel some type of way, even about my marriage, because truthfully, it was me and Mr. who were married. We made the vows. And we had a lot of people on the sidelines with opinions. And if you're not strong, like I'm super strong, but he actually has an allegiance to his family, and that's fine, but he never was able to separate the biological family that he was born into with the one that he actually created. So they were always kind of in the middle of everything. And if he and I could have been unified, the two of us, without the outside, it would have never opened the door for outside entities to come into it. So those things collectively will change your mindset. It will change your chemical makeup. It will change how you move. It will change how you see things. It will just change you. And I just, you know, the world that we're living in, people are literally trying to take themselves out. But people have stories. People have been through things. Nobody's perfect. People want to get online and, you know, try to stunt like they were cool and everything is good. I mean, people that know us, you know, we lived in a big house. We had a brand new Mercedes outside, you know, that he paid for. It was paid off in 2 years. And I had diamonds on every finger and bracelets on all my arms and, you know, necklaces and shoes up to the ceiling and closets full of clothes. But yet every day I was mad that I woke up, because I was like, I got to do this again. You know, and so when it was over, I was posting and, you know, I just kind of felt like, you know, everybody was mad at me. And, you know, he was actually told, you know, to block me and not talk to me and all of this stuff. And like a lot of stuff could have been avoided had he and I been able to sit down like adults and have conversations. But there was too many people in his ear. And you know, and then, you know, he had this, you know, at the time I called her his side piece. So I'm sure, you know, in pillow talk, you know, she had some things that she had to say. So of course, if you banging somebody's brains out, of course, they're going to listen to you. So that's kind of what that was. And so again, when you put all that on top of everything, how can somebody be mentally stable? So like when I sit and I look at like Kanye now, who gets up there and he's, you know, he's got these rants and stuff. It's like you can only take but so much. And like for me, I am a strong person. I appear to be strong anyway. So like even my ex-husband used to say that nothing bothers you. You don't care about nothing hurts you. Like for real, probably things hurt me more than anything. But I'm just not. I wasn't raised to be whiny, crying, complaining. I was raised to identify the problem and fix it. And that's kind of what I've always done. And so with that, when you, and in Kanye's thing, he's like an only child. So him trying to balance life and still trying to be that grown up, you know, it's a lot. So like for all the people that's out there right now that's going through stuff, this world, we living in a real tough world. We really, really are. And if you need to go get help, go get help. I'm not going to tell you to be strong, because sometimes you just cannot. As much as you want to be, you can't. I feel sad because you know, like I posted on one of my videos yesterday, you know, I was really concerned about my child, but I had nobody to call. I had absolutely, because nobody would help me if I asked them, because they don't want to be involved or whatever, because their allegiance is to my ex-husband. And so anything that has to do with me, it won't get done. So, you know, I had to literally post on Facebook because somebody reached out and, you know, check on my child for me. And, you know, I got that taken care of. But it was like an eye opener to me. When you have that type of stuff, how can you not be mentally unstable? But with all that being said, part of the thing is identifying the problems. And I have, and I'm working on it. But I know I'm not the only one. I know it's a lot of people out there struggling right now because you can't go out the house. You social distancing. You got to wear a mask. You with people that you don't necessarily like. You're with people that you don't even know, really, because you haven't been with them. It's hard. So I'm not going to tell you to be strong. I'm not going to tell you to pretend like it ain't what it is. It is what it is. But do what you have to do for your mental to make it out alive. Because I thank the Lord that I am sitting here talking and able to talk, because it was a time when I didn't want to. But I actually do now, because there's some things I want to do. And part of the things that I do want to do is I do want to talk to ladies. I want to be a motivator to them. I want to not have all the fact that I went to school be in vain. I have a lot of knowledge. I worked a lot of different jobs. I have a lot of different experience in a lot of different things. But yet I sit and I always talking about Mr. and what he did and what he didn't do and all of that. And what I am going to do is take all those things and allow it to be a catalyst to get me to bigger things, because none of it was good. And so, you know, and even what's worse about it now is, you know, as I spoke about on a previous video as well, you know, how it came down with my kids. You know, I have 3, and one, like I said, if I wasn't his mother, he would have absolutely nothing to do with me. I know that. And I have to accept that. It is what it is. I'm not sure exactly what I did for him to feel that way, but I know what I can't do. I can't spend more time worrying about it, because it's not a thought in his mind, and he got to move how he got to move because he grown. So I got to respect his position and let it be, and love the people who love me. That's all I could do. But the mental health thing is real. It really is real. I'm a walking, talking blueprint of it. But I just want to encourage someone out there, if you can look at me and listen and know that, you know, you're not in this alone. Don't internalize when you hear other people talking or saying things about you. What other people's opinion of you is not your problem. It's not your business. You have nothing to do with it. That's how they feel. That's not your problem. So walk in your truth, walk in your value, lean not into your own understandings. Always acknowledge God, and he shall direct your path. Put one foot in front of the other and walk it out. We're going to walk out of this thing together. Talk to you later.